My name is Herb Worthington. I was in Vietnam in 1970. I never had any problems up till the time that I was drafted within 5 days of graduating art school. Being married and the son of a World War II veteran, I felt it was my obligation to go. I went, they put me in the infantry, and I kept telling them I'm an artist, you can, I'll be glad to paint any signs, especially stateside. They didn't want to hear it. They put me down in the Mekong Delta, and we operated along the Cambodian border. I think sometimes we were a little bit too far along the Cambodian border, if you understand what I mean. In a place called the Plain of Reeds, another place called the Parrot's Beak, and so on. There were nicknames for everything. I know I slept out there in the weeds and the marsh. I bumped into a fellow that was in my unit 2 years before me, and he talked about how high the elephant grass and the reeds were, and they would cut your face. And when I showed him a picture of the reeds at that time, they were maybe up to your waist. So, I mean, it isn't that it was a bad season. It was obviously Agent Orange. Didn't know anything about it. I felt I was the luckiest soldier in the world because after 5.5 months, I got pulled from the field, and actually I was the only person left in the unit that knew anything about printing or whatever, and they sent me to Japan to oversee a brochure. And then coming back, they asked me if I wanted to be a combat illustrator, and I said yes, and did I want to go out to the field, and the second word was no. You can imagine what the first word was. And this was just before my unit went full force into Cambodia with the 25th Infantry Division, the 1st Cav, the 101st, all of them. So I feel I'm the luckiest guy alive. I lost some very, very good friends there. And I did whatever they needed to be drawn. I had a painting that went to the Paris Peace Talks. I had paintings that went around the Far East. And I came home and went back into advertising and illustrating. I was doing great, and all along, my daughter was born in 1974. I have a son that was born in 1976 at the bicentennial year, so it was wonderful. He almost soon after birth had allergy problems and asthmatic problems, and never gave too much of a thought of it because living in New Jersey, the way the climate is, and that I think everybody had allergy problems and asthmatic problems. Well, now he has kids that have the same thing. And now the hair goes up on your neck and says, this isn't right. And his son also has anger issues. My daughter, born in 1974, was very bright and was a scholar athlete and so on. She played 2 instruments. High school, she was a high school state softball player. And she went on to the University of Delaware, and she, on her 21st birthday, was diagnosed with MS. Now this MS, I'm hearing it more and more. I sit on a board, a Veterans Association, and there are 4 veterans on it. My daughter has MS. There's another fellow that has twin daughters. Both of them have MS. So 50% of the 4 veterans' daughters have MS. I just think it's too coincidental. Me, I'm just strictly a type 2 diabetic with extreme peripheral neuropathy. That's, you've seen me fall before, so I'm kind of used to that. I'll let my daughter talk about her. This is Karen.
I've heard about the barrels with the orange stripes. Filled with liquid poison. I heard about them since I wasn't there. I wasn't even a thought in my parents' mind at that point. I said, but my dad, he was there in country, like so many of you others here today. And as a result of his exposure to Agent Orange, he suffers. It was the dioxin in the barrels with the orange stripes, Agent Orange, that has done so much more than destroy vegetation. I just marked the 19th anniversary of my diagnosis with MS. That's was happy birthday, happy 21st birthday. And you can go ahead and do the math, and my father's already told you that I'm 40. I went from, as my dad said, being an all-state athlete to needing Harvey, my cane, says it right there, just to get me around. And that's in addition to the bionic leg that I call it. It's this device that helps me lift my toes up so I don't trip over them. But of course, health insurance doesn't cover that. And not too many people have $6,000 just hanging around to make that happen. You know, who would want to do something to make yourself walk? You don't think about taking that for granted. I always find ways to make things happen because I won't give up. I've had melanoma here in my neck, and the scar is actually from here to here. And when I had the surgery, I said to my brother, man, I'm gonna need a good story for this one. And he said, just say you got it in NAM. And I said, it's funny now, little did he know. So I'm also, right now, being treated for trigeminal neuralgia. When I finally got the name for these electric shocks that I've been getting in my face, that I've been going to doctors and dentists and periodontists and endodontists since November, saying that something's wrong. It's just the most incredible pain. So I'm going to all these different doctors. They finally give me a name, and I run to Google. Well, that's just figure of speech, because I don't do much running anymore. I look it up, and it's been when you Google it, it's been described as among the most painful conditions known to humankind. That's a good, not such a good description to get when you're feeling it. But I'm a pretty positive person, and it turns out that being positive is exhausting. And being handicapped is expensive. And this is just another thing to add to the list. But I keep going. I often trip, and like my dad, I sometimes fall. I might have slid off the seat too. But the fact is I always get up. And Faces of Agent Orange is bringing the stories of what those barrels with the orange stripes really means to so many of us. To the ones we've lost, those struggling to just keep going, and the ones not even yet a thought in their parents' minds. Thank you.